So, good morning, Mom. I am Shalimar Jade Meeting. So, today, we will be reporting the lesson 3, which is the pre-colonial Philippines. Before we're going to proceed or to tackle the pre-colonial, first, we'll be discussing what are the lessons that the student will be able to know. First is discover the life scenarios of early Filipinos before the Spanish colonization. Second is manifest idea related to different ruling class of ancient Filipinos. So before we're going to tackle the pre-colonial, first we'll be having a brief introduction about the pre-colonial Philippines. First is long before the Spaniards and other foreigners landed on the Philippine shores, our forefathers already had their own civilization, and we're living in a well-organized, independent villages called barangays. So, it says here na before ang mga Spanish or mga other foreigners nag-arrive here in the Philippines or landed, we already have our own civilizations. It was called barangay. So a lot of us thinking na the Spaniards and foreigners brought the civilization here. That's why the lot of mga misinterpretation sa una about sa pre-colonial Philippines. So, the name barangay originated from balangay, a Malay word which means sailboat. So, na-discuss naman no why na ay Malay here in the Philippines. So, na-discuss na po na siya unya usa ang reason. So, ang tawag daw ang barangay is originated balangay, no, from the word barangay. Ang barangay is gina-use gapon nato siya ron sa tuang until now we're still using the word barangay, or ang barangay is it is a community where there's people nga naga-live ana nga certain area. So, in this lesson, you will learn the living life of early Filipinos about the social, political, and spiritual. Cultural evolution of the early Filipinos. So, it states here that the cultural achievements of pre-colonial Philippines include those covered by the prehistory and the early history, the 900s and 1521 of the Philippine archipelagos inhabitants, the indigenous forebears of today's Filipino. It explains here that our indigenous people or indigenous forebears already have their own cultural civilization, or they have already their rich tradition, their own writing system, trading, and language and social organization before the Spanish arrived here in the Philippines. So, long before the Spaniards came from the Philippines, Filipino have their own civilization. Just like I said kanina, Filipino have their own civilization before the Spanish. The Spaniards arrived here in the Philippines, or the other foreigners arrived here in the Philippines. So, this civilization partly came from the Malay settlers and partly came from the response of the new environment. If you're going to say Malay settlers, they are the people who migrated in the Philippines 4,000 years ago during the Austronesian expansion. If we're going to say what is Austronesian expansion, this is the massive migration, or if we're going to say migration, they are from different country who migrated from our country. So, many of these customs and tradition, government and way of life have come down to the present day despite the changes brought about westernization and modernization. So, even though na ay mga westernization nga na sa to ang country and mga modernization in how many years, there ang atong mga custom and tradition and the government and also the way of our life was still in a present day, or nadala gihapon nato hantod karon. Next is, so these are the Malay settlers that mga nag-migrate here in the Philippines 4,000 years ago, and this is the civilization sa una. So, mo ni siya. So, this is why it is possible to know about our distant past by simply observing some customs and practices that have resisted change and modernization. Even though there's may mga nahitabo nga modernization, changes from the past, daghan man jud, dako man jud ang mga changes, diba? sa modernization and westernization, we are still able to know our distant past by simply observing some customs and practices na ano siya nga nadala gyapon nato hangtod karon sa kaning present. So, Society Philippines pre-colonial society is both different and the same as in the present. Some aspect of the pre-colonial period have survived into our time. Giingon diri ang Society Philippine and pre-colonial society is both different po siya, both different pero same po siya as the present because some of the customs and traditions is nag-survive but some of them is nawala siya, na-perish siya because sa mga westernization and modernization. So, next is, among the cultural achievements of the native peoples, belief systems and cultural in general that are notable in many ethnic societies range from agriculture, societal, and environmental concept, spiritual beliefs up to advances in technology, science, and the arts. So, it says here that the native people cultural achievements including the advances in agricultural, society, and environmental practices with spiritual beliefs influence the development of the science, tools in science and arts. So, the cultural achievements of the native peoples and also their belief system influences the technology and science and arts now. So, next is it had started with the traditional folktales, legends made by the ancient Filipino before Spanish colonization. So, the folktales and legends already existed before the Spanish arrived here in the Philippines. So, the main themes of the Philippine literature focus on the country's pre-colonial cultural traditions and socio-political histories of its colonial and contemporary traditions. So, some of the folktales and legends really, all of them, ang theme nila is about sa Philippine literature jo, di ba? Dili jud panagsa jud ka kita or di jud ka kakita og kaning mga folktales and legends nga dili ga talk about sa Philippine literature. So, until now na dala gyapon nato ni siya sa contemporary traditions nato. So, the arrival of the Spanish colonizers in the 16th century brought the beginning of Christianization of the people in the Philippines. So, it states here that we have our own spiritual beliefs before the Christianization brought by the Spanish colonizers, diba? So, before the Spanish arrived, or we all believe about the diwata, mga engkanto. That's are the spiritual beliefs that that our ancestors or the indigenous peoples here, the indigenous forebears here in the Philippines. That's what they believe, that naay mga diwata, mga bathala, sa patong mga diwata sa tubig, diwata sa kakahuyan, nga mga ingana ba? So pag-arrive sa mga Spanish or mga Spaniards, diha na nagsugod ang Christianization nga up until now, we still it's still here in the Philippines. I myself as a Christian, so muna nga, ingon ko nga, nadala gyud nato ang Christianization sa mga Spaniards. Nga wala dapat sa una before they arrive. So, next is the Stone Age. The Stone Age. So, the Stone Age marks a period of prehistory in which humans use primitive stone tools. So, all of us have the knowledge of what is the Stone Age, diba? So, balik naman in many ways nga what are the Stone Age. So, kaning Stone Age which is ang mga stone is mo pa atong mga ginagamit nga tools. So, like pang-hunting, pangluto, pang-unsa pa diha. So, lasting roughly 2.5 million years, the Stone Age ended up about around 5,000 years ago when humans is Near East began working with metal and making tools and weapons from bronze. So nag-end lang ang nag-end lang ang Stone Age around 5,000 years ago when humans nga nag-start na sila na-discover nila ang metal o kanang ginagamit nila by making tools and weapons from the bronze. So next is in central Philippines, an archaeological site in Samar with small stone flake and bone tools was dated to 10,000 years farther south in the islands of Sanga-Sanga where there were apparently. So this is about the flake and bone tools nga na dated siya 10,000 years. So it was located sa Samar, site in Samar. So next is the scarstone materials. The shell of the giant clam was used to form flake tools. So napaday din nga which have been dated to about 6,000 years ago. So ang flake tools it was from the shell of the giant clam. Kung nakakita na mong giant clam, mauna siya ang ginagamit na himo og flake tools. So magkita naman tanan nakakita na mag giant clam, di ba? So next is the earliest evidences of the presence of the people in Philippines can be dated to 750,000 years ago. So dugay-dugay na gid dugay na gid kaayo nga nakita ang presence sa mga people in the Philippines, no? So during the Pleistocene epoch, or sabi pagbasa na epoch, this came in the form of stone tools and fossils and large migrating animals such as elephant, stegodons, rhinoceros, and giant turtles found in Palawan and Cagayan Valley. So in this kaninga age or kaning era is the Ice Age po ni siya katong nag-start po ang Ice Age nga. If you know what is Ice Age, nakakita ng pud gusto magsalida nga Ice Age, makonek mo na siya nga kanang pila na siya kanang existence sa mga tao sa una. So wala man ta na sa Ice Age no na appeal because Philippines is a tropical country. Wala ta na appeal sa Ice Age. So kanang Philippines is one of the archipelago, one of the area sa earth nga wala na appeal sa Ice Age because archipelago we are made of how many islands, and also our country or is tropical country which is iba-iba ang panahon. Then so in this era where significant change in climate environment, but due to being a tropical region, so matog explain ako nga wala ta naka-experience of Ice Age. So kaning epoch area Pleistocene epoch, wala pa kay mga mga kaning dili pa kay advanced kay pa man kay siya, lahi pa man siyang era. So next is traditional Filipino communities. So dili na magsugod. So the early inhabitants are believed to have reached the area over land bridges connecting the islands to Malaysia and China. Have you ever remembered the continental drift theory by si Alfred Wegener ba to siya nga gi-state niya nga ang mga continent sa una is isa pa, dili pa bulag-bulag. This is why nga the people from other country was able to migrate from different country by just walking or mga land bridges rather. So mag-explain po din anong nakaabot ang mga taga-Malay sa Philippines nga island madatanata. So because kay ang country ang continent no sa na is isa lang maong biskan kinsa mao mga Negritos, mga caveman, mga taga-Malay is naabot here in the Philippines. So the first people islands of Malaysia and China. So the first people were the Negritos. That's like what I said, who arrived 25,000 years ago. Later immigrants from the Indonesia. So napugoy po diyan ito kaning i-share nga why nga ang po kay napoy party ba nga island sa Indonesia nga they can speak Tagalog maong they can speak Tagalog and Indonesian at the same time. So mo to na ko tinuod gid ay nga kanang connected gid ay sa una ang Philippines, nagdi mga connected gid sa una ang mga continent. So mo na ko ang nga thoughts lang nako. So after the land bridges disappeared, di ba na disappeared man to due to kaning continental drift by Alfred Wegener, maong nang sa unang mga continent nagbulag-bulag. So yun na ko explain. So immigrants from Indochina brought copper and bronze and built the rice terraces and Banawe in northern Luzon. So kabalo naman mo itong hagdang palayan, di ba? So ang reason ang naghimo daw ato o ang gigamit daw ato is the copper and bronze brought by the Indonesian and Chinese sa utong hagdang palayan sa Banawe ba to? Island ba to? So in 1380, the propagation of Islam began in the Sulu Islands and Mindanao, where Islam remains the major religion. So if you know the Sulu Island, it was most nagpuyo gid diha is mga friend na to nga mga Muslim, right, or the mga Islam. So that major in that religion is mga Islam. So the Muslim influence had spread as far north as Luzon when Ferdinand Magellan arrived in 1521 to claim the archipelago of Spain. Katong gipangalanan na tag Islas di San Lazaro, naabot na si Ferdinand Magellan. So nag-spread pag maayo ang Muslim influence sa North Luzon. So katong pag-abot gani ni Ferdinand Magellan. So Magellan was killed soon after when local chief Lapu-Lapu refused to accept Spanish rule and Christianity, di ba? Kabalo naman mo sa story about ni Lapu-Lapu o katong ni Ferdinand Magellan, gikanta man ni nato siya ba nga. Doon siya sa pagpatay because di ba di sa pagpatay si Magellan naman ni kanta. So sunod is naabot tapos si Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, landed in the Philippines in 1564. So kung si Magellan naabot siya 1529, naabot pud si Lopez sa 1564, which is gipangalanan tatog Las Islas Filipinas. Then unconsolidate Spanish power designating Manila as the capital in 1572. So if you are watching mga salida about sa colonization sa country, like naman may mga salida ng like atong Indio. So the explain jud diha sa tong mga way of sa pag-colonize ang Philippines. So the Roman Catholic religious orders began Christianizing the populace, but the Sulu Islands and Mindanao remain Muslim. So na Christianize na ang mga na spread na ang Christianization sa other area of the Philippines, but the Mindanao remain Muslim, which is natong part di sa Mindanao nga Muslim lang jud nga wala nila na appeal sa kaning Christianization or Christianizing. So naman ata ko kutob.
As I continue this report, the Spanish governed those areas through authority with the Sultan of Mindanao. Spanish did not attempt to conquer the Deep Mountains region of far northern Luzon. Filipinos had title sense of national identity until the mid-19th century. Before that period, the treatment of the island as a single governmental unity by Spain and the conversion of the population to Catholicism were the unifying factors. Noong unang panahon ng pananakop ng mga Espanyol, nakapagsundo sila sa mga sultan sa Mindanao sa halip na sakupin ang buong lugar. Sa malalayong bundok ng Hilagang Luzon, hindi nila nasakop ang mga katutubong tribo dahil matindi ang kanilang paglaban laban sa mga mananakop. The political development of the archipelago was such that there was no national or central government, yet in other words, there was no dato strong enough to consolidate considerable power and no unite the archipelago into one nation. Barangay is used to be their form of government. The name barangay is originated from balangay o Malay word for sailboat. It may compose of about 30 to 100 families. Every barangay is autonomous and it ruled by Dato Raha or Lakan. Barangay ang tawag sa kanilang anyo ng pamahalaan. Nanggaling ang salitang barangay sa salitang Malay na balangay na nangangahulugang bangka o sailboat. Karaniwang binubuo ang isang barangay ng 30 hanggang 100 pamilya. Bawat barangay ay malaya at may sariling pamahalaan, pinamumunuan ng isang Dato Raha or Lakan. We move to circulation of prestige goods. First is contracted marriage. When we say contracted marriage, it is the sponsorship of fruits to negotiated social relations. Ito yung nagbibigay o nagpapalitan ng mahalagang gamit upang ipakita ang yaman at kapangyarihan. Second is the ruling class or the Lakan Tumao, which had started to accumulate land that is owned privately or administered in the name of the clan or community. The third is the Maharlika Timawa, intermediate class of men who had enough land, these who recommended service to the rule and do not work on fields. They are the commoners, they can own their land and don't have to pay regular contribution. The next one is the Alipin or Oripon, those who are unable to pay their thieves, Spanish criminals, and illegitimate children, slavery in a system where humans are treated as property. By forcing them to do work for their masters, no matter it is their life. So sila yung pinakamahabang uri ng lipunan na kabilang ang mga hindi makabayad ng utang, nagkasala, or nagkaanak sa labas. We have two types of slaves. First is namamahay, those who had their own quarters, may sariling bahay, mas malaya at maaring mag-asawa. And second is sagigid, those who lives in their master's homes. Tinuturing na tunay na alipin, nakatira sa bahay ng Panginoon, walang ari-arian, hindi maaaring makasal ng walang pahintulo. We are done to the two types of slaves. We move to the Tagalog class, Visaya. Lakan or Raha, Maginoo, noble class, Tumao or Dato Maharlika. They are in the middle class. And the third is Timawa, Alipin, namamahay or sagigid, the lower class or the class of the person may change. It is not permanent. If a freeman commits a crime, then she or he will become slaves for a certain period of time and can reclaim his or her status. Hindi permanente ang katayuan ng isang tao. Halimbawa, kung ang isang malaya ay gumagawa ng krimen, maaari siyang maging alipin pansamantala pero pwedeng maibalik ang dating kalagayan. The ruling class, top, dato from different barangay, far right. Royal class, Tagalog, below left. Royal class, Visayan clan. The Maharlika and landowners, warriors, freemen, and commoners. The Alipin in the Philippines before the colonization are working because of their utang na loob, because they cannot give collaterals. This is the reason why Alipin can be sold to their master. In the Visayas, an Alipin was called Oripon. One acquired the status of the slave by inheritant failure to pay debts and contribute commissions of crimes, and captivity and wars between barangays. Now we move to the following description of the way of life pre-colonial Filipinos. Model of dressing. Male attire was composed of the karanga, which is the sleeveless jacket, and bahag loincloth. The color of the karanga indicates rank: red for the shift, black for blue for commoners, and the bagubo man and woman can also wear a turban called putong, which also tell the social status achievements of the individual wearing it. Female attire consisted of baro or kamisa, jacket with sleeves, and saya or patudyong, a long skirt. Some women wore a piece of red or white cloth on top of their skirt called tapis, karinga, and Cebuanon woman bagobo man putong. We're done to their model of dressing. We move to their ornaments. Men and women wear ornaments to look attractive. Both wear kalumbiga, pendants, bracelets, and leglets. These ornaments were made of gold. Some were gold filling between the teeth, and also tattoos, fashionable for some pre-colonial Filipinos. They also exhibit a man's war record.
Examples of the mode of dressings.
Alas de Pintados, term coined by the Spaniards for the Visayans. We're done to their model of dressing and their ornaments, and we move to their houses. They built to suit the tropical climate called bahay kubo, made of wood, bamboo, and nipa palm. It was built on steel and can be entered through ladders that can be dropped up. Some Filipinos, such as the Kalingas, Mandayas, and Bagobos, built their houses on treetops. Others, such as the Bagubos, built their houses on boats.
Status of women. Women in pre-colonial Philippine society had the right to inherit property, engage in trade and industry, and succeed to the chieftainship of the barangay in the absence of the male heir. So during the pre-colonial, ang mga kababaihan daw kay naanay mga right nga magmana sa ilahang mga ari-arian. Ang mga babae during the pre-colonial na anapod sila right nga mamuno sa ilang mga barangay, dili lang kay ang mga lalaki ang magmuno, kay naanapoy right ang mga babae nga mag-lead sa ilahang mga barangay. Marriage customs. Men were in general monogamous while their wives are called asawa, while concubines are called friends. In order to win the hand of his lady, the man has to show his patience and dedication to both the lady and her parents. Ang isa daw ka lalaki kay nagapakita og patient and dedication sa isa ka babae og kanang sa iyang parents nga para makuha niya ang isa ka babae nga para iyang pakasalan. Courtship usually begins with paninilbihan. If the man wins the trust of the parents, he does not immediately marry the women, but he has to satisfy several conditions. First is give a dowry or bigay kaya, pay the panghihimuyat, pay the wet nurse bigay suso, pay the parents himaraw bribe for the relatives called sambon among the sambals. So, bago daw ipakasal or ligawan ang isa ka babae, kay kailangan makuha sa lalaki ang trust sa parents, kay dili nila ipakasal dayon ang isa ka babae kung wala ni ang ilang mga kondisyon nga gihatag sa manliligaw sa ilang anak. Once he had settled all of the above requirements, he bring his parents to meet with the bride to best parents to haggle and make the final agreements. This is called pamamalay or pamamanhikan or pamumulungan. The wedding ceremonies vary depending on the status of the couple, but normally those from the upper class a go between was employed. Weddings are officiated by the priest or babaylan, and cooked rice is thrown on the couple after the wedding ceremony. Marriage ceremony. Eating rice tawsog wedding ceremony, Muslim Filipinos have similar marriage customs. The first stage was called pananalanguni or betrothal. It was followed by the consultation with the girl's parents who relays their decision to the village chef, who in turn informed the suitor's parents of the decision. Dowry was also settled by the chef pidsungod. So this was of 7 kinds of dowry. First is kawasati, money given to the bride's close relatives. Second is siwaka, brassware given to those who help arrange the wedding. Third is induwatan, brassware or animals for the village chef. Pangatulian, jewelry given to the bride's mother or aunts. Tatas is blade given to the girl's uncle. Langkad, money given to the girl's parents as fine for having bypassed the girl's elder sister if she had any. And likat, amount of money given to the girl's attendant. Once everything is settled, the pigkawing or the wedding ceremony follows. The wedding ceremony is officiated by the Haji. 6 days of festivities followed, and only the 7th day could the couple sleep together, Muslim wedding. So the next one is mixed marriage, inheritance and successions. Mixed marriage were allowed the pre-colonial society. The status of children were dependent upon the status of the parents. Often the status of children in mixed marriages and divided evenly between the parents. Single children of mixed marriage were half free and half dependent. Legitimate children inherited their parents' property even without any written will and was divided equally among the children. So, ang ilaha daw mga legit nga anak kay tigaan nila og mga inheritance silang gikan sa ilang parents or natigaan silang mga property without any mga kasulatan nga na. So ang ilahang ginabuhat gidivide nila sa ilahang mga anak nga pantay-pantay. So the politics, government unit of government was the barangay, which consisted of from 30 to 100 families. The term came from the Malay word balangay, meaning boat. Barangay were headed by chieftains called dato. The subjects served their chieftain during wars, voyage, planting and harvest, and when his house need to be built or repaired, they also paid tributes called buwis. Balangay. The chief or dato was the chief executive and legislator and the judge. He was also the supreme commander in times of war. Ang chief or dato or mga chief executive and the legislator and the judge kay mao da sila nga supreme commander in times of war. Sila ang mga namuno or sila ang mga commander during the times of war. Alliance from barangay were common, and these were formalized in ritual called sangduguan. Conflicts between or among barangays were settled by violence. Those who win the force is always right. Laws were either customary, handed down from generation to generation orally, or written, promulgated from time to time as necessity arose. Legislation. Before laws are made, the chief consult with a council of elders who approve of his plan. They are not immediately enforced until the new legislation is announced to the village by the Omalohokan. who also explained the laws to everyone. Judicial process. Disputes between individuals were settled by a court made up of the village chief and council of elders. Between barangays, a board made up of elders from neutral barangays acted as a arbiter. So, judicial process, ang mga batas na pinatupad ay nagmula sa mga kaugalian, gamit at tradisyon. Trial by ordeal. To determine the innocence of an accused, he is made to go through a number of ordeals which he must pass. Example include dipping one's hand in boiling water, holding a lighted candle that must not be extinguished, plunging into a river, and staying underwater for as long as possible, chewing uncooked rice and spitting, etc. Religious beliefs. Pre-colonial Filipinos believe in the immortality of the soul and in life after death. They also believe in the existence of a number of gods whom they worship and made offspring to according to rank. But Halang Maykapal is creator. Idinayale is god of agriculture. Sidapa is god of death. Balangaw is rainbow god. Mandarangan is war god. Agni, fire god. Lalahon, goddess of harvest. Siginarugan is god of heal. Dian Masalanta is goddess of love.
Ninja Bathala also showed respect for animals and plants like the crocodile, crow, tigmamanukid. Some trees were not also cut because they were thought to be divine. So, kini si Agni Bathala naga-show siya og kanang respect sa kana bitawng animals and kanang mga tanom like ning mga crocodile, crow, kaning tigmamanukin. So, some trees were not also cut because they were thought to be divine. So, ang kanang mga pod kanang mga trees, mga kahoy, kanang wala gipang putol kay kanang sila kanang itong makatabang sila. And diseases were thought to be caused by the temper of the environmental spirit. So, para sa iya daw ang kaning diseases is kanang nag-cause daw ni tungod sa kanang temper sa kanang environmental spirit. So, Filipinos also venerated the dead by keeping alive their memory by carving idols of stone, gold, or ivory called likha or larawan. Food, wine, and other things were also shared with the dead. So, para sa yung Filipinos is also kanang venerated kanang bitaw kanang sige ni siya venerated kanang respect niya ang kanang dead by keeping alive their memory. So, other idols called anitos or diwatas, to whom they made offerings. Some anitos were considered bad. However, they made offerings to them in order to appease them or placate their anger. So, kining mga anitos, muna siyang gitawag na to karon o kanang mga mga diwatas, mga diwata ba. And then, to whom they made offerings, some anitos were considered bad. So, napo daw kanang mga anitos napo daw kanang mga kanang bad bitaw. And then they made offerings to them in order to appease them or placate their anger. Priestesses such as the Babaylana or Catalona acted as medium to communicate with these spirits. So, ang anitos po di ay is kanang like kuan siya kanang more po kanang mga spirits bitaw kanang like ay mga natural spirits, environmental spirits, and then kining napoy evil spirits. So kining mga priestesses such as Babaylan or Catalona, mo na siya tong mga mo na siya ang mga kanang kaya bitaw nga mo communicate with kaning mga anitos ng mga spirits, kay sila ang may kaya nga mo kuan ba mo communicate sa ila. And the next one is livestock. The daily fare consisted of rice and boiled fish, or sometimes pork or venison, carabao or wild buffalo meat, fermented the sap of palm trees and drank it as liquor called tuba. So the daily fare consisted of rice and boiled fish, or sometimes pork or venison, carabao or wild buffalo meat. So sa livestock, mo ni siya ang kanang bitawng ma-tackle niya kanang mag domestic kag mga animals bitaw to make kanang mga meat bitaw para aning carabao or wild buffalo meat. So pre-colonial Filipinos raised chickens, pigs, goats, carabaos, and small native pioneers. So sa pre-colonial Filipinos daw is kanang nagabuhi bitaw kanang mga manok, baboy, kanding, carabao o kanang mga native nga mga animals sa kuan. And then fishing was thriving industry for those who live in the coast or near rivers and lakes. Various tools for fishing such as nets, bow and arrow, spear, wicker basket, hooks and lines, corals and fish poison were used. So there is a fishing kana bitaw kining was a thriving industry for those people kana bitawng nagapuyo duol sa kanang mga dagat o kanang sapa. So da gyud na yung mga kanang mga nahitabo nga kanang mga pangisda ba. And then nagagamit pud siya og kanang mga tools like kaning mga nets, bow and arrow, spear, wicker basket, hooks and lines. And then kana pong mga ginatawag na to kanang pang poison sa mga isda. And then mining comparatively developed before the coming of the Spaniards. The ancients mined gold in many parts of the archipelago and were traded throughout the country and with other countries. Fishing with bow and arrow. So in mining kanang comparatively developed bitaw siya sa wala pa ni abot ang mga kining na-develop na bitaw ning mining, sa wala pa ni abot ang kining mga Spaniards. And then lumbering and shipbuilding were flourishing industries. Filipinos were said to be proficient in building ocean-going vessels. All kinds of boats or ships were built with the Spaniards. Spaniards later call bangka, balangay, lapis, karakua, viray, vinta, and prau. So diri kanang bitaw flourish na siya og kanang mga industries. And then ang mga Filipino daw is kanang may proficient kanang bitawng proficient in building ocean going vessels like kaning mga bangka bitaw, mga bangka, balangay, lapis, kinana siya. And then weaving, home industry that was dominated by women using crude wooden looms, textiles such as sinamay from hemp, midrinake from banana, cotton, linen, and silk were woven. Like kana bitaw kining weaver, for example kaning ato ang mga kining banig, like mo na siya ang example ani. And then trading was conducted between or among barangays or even among the islands. There was trade too with other countries such as China, Siam, Japan, Cambodia, Borneo, Sumatra, Java, and other islands of old Malaysia. So, ang kaning trading was kanang gikandak bitaw siya between among kanang mga barangay or kaning even kaning mga ginatawag na to kaning mga islands. And then appeal po daning kaning mga countries po. So nag-appeal po siya kaning trading po. And then did not use any currency but conducted trade through barter. So, and the next one is culture. Philippine pre-colonial culture was basically Malayan in structure and form. They had written language which was used not just for communication but also for literary expression. So kining culture daw kay kanang bitaw Philippine pre-colonial culture is kanang basically bitaw kanang Malayan in structure and form. And then they had written language which was used and not just for communication but also for literary expression. So in Philippine pre-colonial culture is kana bitaw na sila kanang mga written languages kanang dili lang siya bitaw kanang pang communicate nga mga languages but also kanang ginagamit po siya sa kanang mga literary nga mga expressions ng mga literary works bitaw. And they also had music and dances for almost all occasions and a wide variety of musical instruments that shows their ingenuity. So sa Philippine pre-colonial culture napon sila kanabitaw music and dances for almost all occasions kanabitaw sa isa sa mga okasyon. And then napon sila kanang mga wide itong variety para wide variety nga kanang sa mga musical instruments that shows their ingenuity. Languages. There are more than 100 languages in the Philippines, 8 of which are considered major languages. So, maoning Tagalog, Iloco, Pangasinan, Pampangan, Subuhanon, Hiligaynon, Samarnon or Samar, and then Leyte and Maguindanao. These languages are descended from Austronesians or Malayo. So, kana nga mga language daw is kanang bitawng descended siya sa kanang gikan sa kanang mga Austronesians or kaning Malayo. And then Polynesian language, the Polynesian language, the differences might be accounted for the need of forming new words and phrases to fit the new environment. So ang kining Polynesian language, the differences might be accounted for the need of forming new words and phrases to fit the environment is mo ni siya ang kanabitang mga bag-o nga mga language na kanabitawong lahi nga pagka kanang nailahi nga kanang paggamitan bitaw para maka-form og kining mga bag-o nga mga words o phrases para ma-fit bitaw siya sa kanang new environment. Many of the words or terms in Filipino languages were delivered from Malayan. So sa kaning atuang mga kuan karon, mga words bitaw in terms in Filipino languages is kanang na-derive siya gikan sa kanang mga Malayan. And then system of writing. Before the arrival of the Spaniards, Filipinos used a syllabary which was probably of Sanskrit or Arabic provenance. So wala pa daw na abot ng kining bitawng Spaniards, ang kita mga Filipino daw sa una is nagamit sila kanang bitawng syllabary nga kanang probably of kanang Sanskrit or Arabic provenance. So, the syllabary consisted of 17 symbols, of which 3 were vowels and 14 consonants. Mo na siyang syllabary. No one is certain about the direction of writing. Wala daw kanabitaw certain sa direction of writing. And then Father Pedro Chirino's theory is that the ancients wrote from top to bottom and from left to right. So ang theory daw ni Father Pedro Chirino is kanang ang mga ancients wrote daw is kanang gikan sa taas padulong sa kanabitawng pinakababa, and then gikan pud sa diri sa wala, and then padulong sa right. And that's all. Thank you.